Hi everyone, in this video we will review how to install MySQL on Windows 10. Let us go into a brief overview of MySQL. MySQL is a database management system developed, distributed, and supported by Oracle. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, which is used to store and process data in a relational database. Relational databases store data in columns and rows. A variety of companies use MySQL for part or all of their database management, including Uber, Airbnb, YouTube, and Flipkart. A survey of developers on Stack Overflow from 2023 shows MySQL as one of the most popular database management systems. First, I am going to bring up the MySQL installer webpage in my browser. You can find a link to the page in the description below. I am going to choose the Windows MySQL installer. We have two different options. We can choose to download the full MySQL tool, which includes all the features, or the web option to download features piecemeal. I am going to download the full version, which is about 285 megabytes. I am prompted to create a MySQL account, but we can just install it without creating an account. Once the installer has downloaded, I am going to run it. I am going to agree and allow MySQL to make changes to my local machine. And I am going to say yes again. The first configuration we need to set is the type of installation we want. There is the server only that installs just the MySQL server, client only for client tools, and connectors without the server, a full install of all the features, or a custom install. I am going to choose the full setup option. In my case, I will also need to download the Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 redistributable package. I am going to select all of the options here and then execute. Once that is done, I am going to go to the next configuration. We are now ready to install MySQL products. I am going to click on Execute. With all the products installed, I am going to go into the configurations. We have the server configuration here. We have three options to choose from. Development, which is for MySQL scripting and uses a low amount of memory. Server, which is a more dedicated server that utilizes more memory than the development option. And dedicated, which is a machine that is primarily dedicated to MySQL. I will choose the development option. I can also configure the port MySQL will use. By default, it is set for 3306. For security-minded system and database admins, changing the port MySQL uses is a good practice. I am going to choose a port in the registered port range, port 4587. For the X protocol port, it is just the MySQL protocol port and you append a 0 to the end of it. I will go to the next configuration. For the authentication method, it prompts you to use the strong security password, which means a user cannot enter a simple password, they need a more complex one. I am going to leave this as strong and continue on. I now have to type in my root password for the root MySQL user. I am also going to create a user named Adrian. We have a variety of roles we can assign to the user. I will assign him to a database administrator role. Here, I am asked if I want to set MySQL as a Windows service. On Windows, it is recommended to run MySQL as a Windows service so that MySQL starts and stops automatically when Windows starts and stops. I will leave all the default values here. For the server file permissions, I will leave the default values and continue. To apply the configurations, I am going to click the Execute button. And we can see that the configuration was successful. I am going to finish. For the product configuration, I am going to click Next. In my case, I am not going to set up the MySQL router. However, if I did, I would have to change the port number to 4587 as well as the export to reflect the changes. I would also have to include the host name and a password. Let's continue. I am now going to connect to my server. I am going to input the password I created for the root user. And we can see that our connection succeeded. I will apply the configurations again. And I am going to finish. I'll click Next. And I will start the MySQL workbench and MySQL shell once it has completely finished installing. We can work with MySQL through MySQL Workbench, which is a graphical user interface. We can also work with the MySQL shell to work with the program. I am going to use the MySQL shell for the brief demonstration of how this will work. Currently, MySQL is running in JavaScript mode. To switch to SQL mode, I need to type in \SQL. Next, I need to log into my user Adrian. I need to type in \connect, then Adrian at localhost. I also need to provide the port that I configured for MySQL, which is 4587. I am prompted for the user's password. And I'm asked if I want to save the password. I do not. And I am logged in. From here, I am going to list the default databases with the show databases command. I am going to use the world database. I will list out the tables within the example database world using show tables. I will focus on the city table. Finally, I am going to print out the columns and first 5 rows of the city table. And we can see that MySQL is running and I am able to look into a database and query some tables. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope that this video was helpful. If you found the video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, X, GitHub, Medium, and Odyssey. Thanks again everyone and happy coding.